Now, whether it is at work or in your personal life, being rejected for something is never easy. One woman has said she's overcome her fear of being rejected by keeping a notebook of her rejections with the aim to get the list to a total of 1,000. It's not an easy thing to do, of course, being rejected. Trying to get to 1,000, that's something else, Odie. But certainly the world that you grew up in dancing, my goodness, Odie, I can only imagine was hugely competitive, obviously.
Do you know what?
Did you feel that rejection sometimes in competitions and just
No,
environment?
I was thinking about this because I've always been dancing at a high quality and I always won. I'd never understood the idea of rejection, really. Like, I'm 10 times South African champion. I won strictly. So I kind of lived life like that. It wasn't until you start to go, do you know what? I don't feel like I've learned anything. I haven't experienced anything. And then I changed that whole career of what I want to do next, that you experience the rejection. And it hurts. But I feel like it's a part of life. Yeah. And we all have moments where we're falling and we have to just pick ourselves up and learn how to pick ourselves up. So yes, I've been rejected many times, and I feel like we all do in our industry, but I've learned a lot more from those rejections than I have from wins.
Yeah, there is a strength in that.
Yeah, and my skin is tough. Look at it. Look at it. It's so tough.
If you haven't experienced rejection, then how can you enjoy the success?
Yeah.
Because it's all those times when you've been rejected, and then when something does finally work for you or land for you, it's just the best feeling in the world. But if that's never happened, you'd never experience that.
I know when I was at college and I wanted to get my first job in journalism, I wrote loads of sample articles and sent them to all the newspapers to try and get a job. And I remember sending one to a Sunday newspaper for a fact to be deputy fashion editor or something like that. And I really thought I was in with a chance. And then I saw the woman that got the job, and she was so glamorous. But mind you, when I look at the pictures of me at 20, I was glamorous. It's just that she was more glamorous than me, whatever. And I
gotta let it go,
can't let it go. I was so mad. And actually, I didn't let it go because it spurred me on. And then I did get offered my first job on a magazine. And then I did get headhunted by the Daily Mail and given a great job at 21. But I've had loads of rejection, and just like I've said on this show, I've been made redundant as well. And that's how you do grow resilience and you do learn to cope. But after we were talking about this earlier today, I thought the worst rejection I had in my whole life was when a friend that I was really, really close to for 20 years one day said, "I'm sorry, I can't handle being your friend anymore. I need to be by myself and lead a different life." And I just, to this day, that rejection is almost worse than the job.
That was more personal, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Harsh.
It was devastating, actually, at the time. And I remember writing to her saying, "What's the reason?" And her husband said to me, "There's no reason, that she's just decided."
That's hard rejection.
Yeah, because as you say, with worky things, it can give you an inner strength, strangely, to spur you on almost and prove a point. And actually, you're the ones that have missed out and that sort of thing. But that's a very personal thing with a friend.
I think with a rejection at work, when I was at the BBC, first of all, when I worked in ITV, as a presenter, I wanted to go to the BBC. And then I had this ludicrous interview where this bloke said to me, "Oh, well, you're not right for the BBC, you'd have to be retrained." So he was kind of rejecting me in a very patronising way.
Cool.
Anyway, of course, 20 years later, I do go back to the BBC as an executive. But even then, you get so far up that ladder of power and then you reach the glass ceiling. And I remember I applied to be the channel controller of BBC Two, and it was between me and a bloke, and I didn't get it. And I was hopping mad. I was absolutely... I stormed off. That was stupid.
I think I applied for that job at some point.
Oh, did you? Yeah. What happened?
Didn't want it anyway.
But you know what, Colleen?
Not for me.
When you don't get something at work, the dumb thing is to storm off like I did. It's better to regroup. And
I'm feeling you're very reflective today, isn't she?
nice.
She's very calm.
Marriage is really
Absolutely.
oh, God, give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Go to the commercial break.
Yeah, we will.
please.
I'm loving you as a missus. I really am.